Hey everybody, I'm going to go ahead and discuss the economic stimulus checks briefly, so I can shed some light a little bit on uh, who's who's going to get what and what some of the criteria are here. So the reality is, if you haven't filed your 2019 tax return yet, you should go ahead and do that immediately, and you're going to want to file it electronically, and because they're not processing paper file 2019 returns at this time because of the crisis and their limited resources at the IRS. And if you haven't filed 2019 yet, that's okay because hopefully you filed your 2018 return, and that's been already processed, and they have your account information to be able to direct deposit those stimulus checks. So what can you expect with respect to the stimulus checks? So the payouts are basically go like this. You'll get $1,200 if you're an individual or head of household, single parent. You'll get $2,400 if you're married filing joint, and an additional $500 per child under 17. There's income limitations to that, so those full amounts relate to people that if they're an individual, they make under 75,000. If they're head of household, they make under 112,500. If they're married filing joint, they make under $150,000. You still get those amounts, but they're reduced if your income exceeds 75,000 to 99, up to the max of 99,000 if you're single or head of household. If you're, I should say, if you're single or married filing separately, the next phase out is for head of household. The benefit is reduced if you're between 112,500 and 136,500. If you're married filing jointly, the benefit is reduced if your income is between 150,000 and 198,000, and it's reduced by 5% of the amount over those minimums. So a couple other things to keep in mind before I get into an example of that calculation. The the stimulus payment, the economic stimulus payment, is considered a federal tax credit, so it's not actually income. So it should not be taxable to the at the state level. So that should be the case. There is one caveat though, as far as who can actually grab that money, and there is a provision in the Treasury regulation in the tax law that allows that stimulus payment to be clawed back for child support payments that are in arrears. So keep that in mind. Um, a little bit about the account information in the portal, because the portal's been having a lot of issues. People have been having a hard time gaining access to it. If your account number has changed, or if you want to change your account number, if you can finally get access to it, you should be able to change your account number in the portal for the direct deposit into your account. Then the other issue is a lot of people are concerned if they owed the IRS money, if they're on installment agreement. This does not affect installment agreements. It does not apply. It does not get applied to past due balances. So rest assured that that's not going to affect anything. That this should be money that comes directly to you without any issues of paying past due taxes. Um, and I think I talked about the tax credit not being taxable to the state. Um, I think I may have mentioned, but I'll repeat it again. But you're not going to want to file paper returns for 2019 if you haven't already filed your tax return. You should do it electronically. The IRS is not processing paper filed returns. Just to stress that. So be very careful there, and you should also, obviously, if you're going to file electronically, use your account information, in the electronic filing for your refund or your payment, so that it's in the database and they have your actual bank information on file so they can deposit the stimulus check. And by the way, we don't know what other stimulus checks they will be depositing into our accounts in the future, given the scope of the crisis and how long this is going to get drawn out for. So it's important to keep things consistent with your account information in the federal database. Last thing about the child stimulus, that stimulus doesn't get phased out in this phase out range over here. This the phase out range. You still get 100% of the child stimulus. The only time it gets completely phased out is if you exceed these numbers. If you exceed 99,000, if you're single or married filing separately, 136.5 if head of a household, or 198,000 if you're married filing jointly. Otherwise, the child credit does not get phased out. Only your credit would get phased out. So here's an example of that. Let's say you're head of household, single parent, and you have one qualifying child, and your gross income was 135,351. Well, you're butting up against that maximum threshold over here, so you're in this. You've exceeded, the minimum threshold, which otherwise you've been able to get the full benefit. So now they're going to phase it out. They're going to reduce that benefit by 5%. So in our example, 135,351. So in this case, the maximum amount is 136,500 less 135,351, which is your adjusted gross income on your 2019 tax return, leaving you only $1,149 of potential benefit, and that's reduced by 5%. So you're only going to get that's multiplied by 5%, I should say. So you're only going to get $57.45 of the actual stimulus check for yourself. However, because you have a qualifying child and you did not exceed that $136,500, you will get the full $500 for that child, leaving you with a total stimulus of $557.45. So there is that little extra benefit for receiving the stimulus for the child or the children you may have. So that's it in a nutshell as far as how the mechanics work and the thresholds and everything else. A couple other pieces of information related to, the past due taxes, the issue with the child support clawback. But generally speaking, and also the most important thing is also not the paper file. It's very crucial that you send this information in electronically so that you don't delay getting this economic stimulus. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to contact us at opsaccounting.com. Leave us a note, give us a call. We'll be happy to walk you through it. Best of luck to you and to everybody else. Thanks again for watching.